Well, it's Tag Tuesday, and I'm going to do a book haul because, well, I've got a lot of books, and so I want to talk about them, and I'm excited to. I actually wasn't going to do this video until next week, but I was in the process of inventorying them all, and I'm like, you know what? If I'm just going to do that, I might as well just do the video too. So, yeah, and I'm excited. So, stick around. Welcome back to Kevin Toll Reads. I hope you're doing well. It is time for a book haul. And so I'm going to set this up in three kind of phases, so to speak. And I have books grouped here based on kind of the deal. And so I figured you kind of wanted to know about that. So we'll start with this grouping here. So I went to Barnes and Noble and I went to a used bookstore. I went to Barnes and Noble just to kill time. Tessa and I were waiting on a restaurant to open, and so we had a little time. So we just went in to browse, and I came across this book, and I had to pick it up. It was half of what I spent on this phase, and I'll get to that. But I don't normally see this in the wild, but I found volume 6 of Louis L'Amour's collected short stories, Crime Stories, which is volume 6, part 2. And so I'm slowly collecting them up here on my Western shelf. And so this makes, I think, my 6th collection. And so I definitely am on the lookout for part 1 for this collection. But I'm always interested in boxing and crime stories. So definitely wanted to pick this up. It was $6.99 plus tax. And so I had to pull the trigger there. That was the only book I bought at Barnes & Noble. And so the other used store, I spent $7 on what I'm about to show you. And so in total, this phase or this stack cost me like 14 and some in tax. So I picked up 2 Jeffrey Deaver mass market paperbacks. I picked up The Burning Wire, which is a Lincoln Rhyme novel, and I picked up Roadside Crosses, which is a Catherine Dance novel. And so I picked these up. Didn't have either of these in my Jeffrey Deaver collection, so I picked them up. And then they had some Westerns that were half off, and so I picked up 3 Louis L'Amours. They are The Californios, Kid Rodeo, Kid Rodlo, I don't know, and The Legend of Lonigan. And so I picked those up, really good condition. Always looking out for Louis L'Amours I don't have. There's a lot that I don't, even though I've got a ton of Louis L'Amour up there. So I picked those up. And then they also had, which is very timely considering June on the Range is on the horizon, they had a collection of the greatest Western stories by Zane Grey. And so I picked this up, edited by Lauren Gray. And so I thought it was really cool. There is 8 short stories in here. And so I picked that up. Definitely going to be reading that as part of Saturday Shorts for June on the Range. So more to come on that. And then I picked up 3 kind of fantasy books, and I don't normally see these out in the wild, and for 50 cents I had to pull the trigger on this. It was Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. I have books 2 and 3 of the Farseer trilogy, but I didn't have book 1. Now I do, and so I picked that up. I very, very, very rarely ever see these books out in the wild, and never see them in hardback. Siege of Darkness, a R.A. Salvatore Forgotten Realms. This is a Drizzt Do'Urden book. I read this many years ago. It is part of the Drizzt Do'Urden series. It's in hardback, great condition. I picked it up for $1. I mean, you can't pass that up. And also for $1, I found a Conan pastiche novel, The Freelance, which is a Conan tale. And this one reads on the back, fate tosses the dice for Conan of Samaria, and they come up. Death. Dima, the mist mage, knows nothing of the muscular Sumerian, but the vile necromancer's plans require his death. That's kind of the beginning of the back. But yeah, pick that up. Look at the interesting attire. Not my favorite painting, or cover art, but yeah, interesting. And so all of this was, even with the brand new book from Barnes & Noble, was $14 and some change for all this. So really cool. So that's kind of like the first phase here. And so the second phase of books is I went to the Friend Shop bookshop, and they had some deals. And if you were a member, you got half off. There's certain days where their bookshop, which is already way reduced prices on books, they have them even marked down even further or half off even further for members. And so I asked the lady, I'm like, hey, can I get that deal if I sign up for a membership today? The membership was $10. She's like, yeah. And so I spent the $10 on the membership, which more than paid for itself and all the savings I got. And so I got with the membership all of these for, I think it was $25 with the membership. And so I've got a plethora of books here, old school DAW books, science fiction, some random books, chillers, thrillers. I don't know even what they call them, but yeah, some authors I never heard of, but they sounded cool, and I just had to pick them up. We'll start with E.C. Tubb. And so I picked up these books from E.C. Tubb. They were all DAW books, and they're all a part of, I assume, is a series called Doomarest of Terra. And so each of these books have that with a number, so it's number in the series. But this first one is Nectar of Heaven, and it's Doomarest of Terra number 24. We got Prison of Night, number 17. Earth is Heaven, number 27. And Iduna's Universe, which is an interesting one, number 21. And so I picked those up. And then they had two books that I kind of like, hey, those are really cool looking. I think Nick at the Book Graveyard would appreciate both of these. But this one is a Joan Conn Harper novel of suspense by Myrick Land called Quicksand. And it was a really cool looking cover. On the back it says, was the Honorable Spencer Grayson really a crook, or had someone deliberately set out to ruin the congressman's reputation? Fred Donnelly, a top-notch reporter for a big weekly magazine, had to know the truth before it was too late, before his expose on Grayson hit the newsstands. But his frantic backtracking of facts and interviews seemed to lead him only to trouble, to deception, and finally to murder. I thought that was a really cool kind of cover, and I thought the back sounded really interesting, and it's a short read, so I'm like, yeah, I need to check that out. This one was really cool too. I think Nick will like this one. This is They Call Me the Mercenary, Fourth Reich Death Squad. This is Hank Frost, the One-Eyed Merc Captain, and this is by Alex Kilgore. And so I'm assuming this is probably a series of these books about this gentleman. But yeah, really cool cover. I had to pick that up. And then I found these four books by an author I've never heard of called Nick Carter. And the first three are these really cool covers. We've got this one, which is called Butcher of Belgrade. And these are called Killmaster novels. And they also say Espionage Chiller at the top. This is 6 Bloody Summer Days. The Katmandu Contract. And then this one was a special collector's edition, the 100th Killmaster novel of espionage and suspense by Nick Carter, Dr. Death. But it also contains, and you got this kind of the bullet, the chamber, and then you got Nick, this guy here. It also has Run Spy Run and the Preposterous Theft. So it's 3 books in one. Really cool kind of cover there. And so those are Nick Carter books, which I don't know anything about, but they sound interesting. And then I know Tim at Secret Fire Books always talks about C.J. Cherry, and so I found 3 DAW books out there by C.J. Cherry. I know nothing about them, if they're part of series or anything like that, but I found Port Eternity, Fires of Azeroth. Really cool cover there. The Well of Shayun. Really cool cover. But yeah, I picked those up. I thought that was really cool. And then I picked up some just kind of odds and ends ones I saw that had really cool covers, old school paperbacks. Joel Haldeman, The Forever War. Really cool book, really cool cover. I've heard of this book. I've always wanted to read it. So more to come on that. I picked up this Daw book by William L. Chester. It's Cayuga of the Wilderness, one of the really great classics of Lost Land adventure. Really cool cover. Larry Nevin, Protector. A Frederick Brown, Rogue in Space. Really cool cover. And then I picked up a bunch of books by an author. Again, they had a bunch of several Daw ones and some really cool covers. But these are all by the author Andre Norton. And so I picked these up. And so we'll go through these. This is Lavender Green Magic. Really cool cover. Kind of a wraparound kind of deal. Kind of an artsy cover. This one was really cool. Eye of the Monster. Merlin's Mirror. Really cool cover. Tray of Swords. This one's epic. Isn't that cool? Not only did I like the what's going on in the picture, but I like the Andre Norton. That's really cool there. Perilous Dreams. Sea Siege. Lore of the Witch World. And so all of those, the EC Tub, these standalone ones that I picked up, and all the CJ Cherry, the Nick Carter, all of these. So yeah, all of this, plus the membership that is going to give me discounts for the rest of the year whenever I go to members half off, I spent $25 on all this. $25. And so while I was there, and you've probably seen in a recent book haul where I did one with Tessa, I had a mystery bag. And I picked it up at the same place, and I noticed they had one. There was one left on the table. And so I immediately wanted to go over and see what authors it had on the front. It doesn't tell you what books are in there, but this one had 2 authors. And I was like, oh. And as soon as I saw the names, I immediately grabbed the bag and was like, my precious, like, because they had 2 authors on the bag, and the bag was $2. And the mystery bags are always like $2 there. And it was Pal Anderson and Edgar Rice Burroughs. And I'm like, I don't even know what's in there. I have no idea. I know I don't have any Edgar Rice Burroughs in physical format. I have several books. I'm starting to collect more Anderson. And so I'm like, well, for $2, you can't go wrong. And so let's start with the Edgar Rice Burroughs. I have a book on Kindle, but I don't have any physical books, like I said. So these books were $2. This was $2 for all these. $2. And half of this is Edgar Rice Burroughs, and half of this is Pal Anderson. And so let's jump right in and talk about Edgar Rice Burroughs. So I got this book, The Monster Men. John Carter of Mars. The Eternal Savage. Lana of Gothel. It might be Yana of Gothel, if that's how you pronounce the double L. The Wizard of Venus and Blood Pirate, Pirate Blood. This is actually 2 books. I Am Barbarian. Look at that. And then I was like, because I was like, please have a Tarzan in there. there, because I always see these books out in a one used shop I go to. They want like $10 or more for each of these Tarzan books because they're really old. I got 3 of them. And so I got Tarzan and the City of Gold, Tarzan's Quest, and Tarzan and the Golden Lion. They're just really cool. Like, and this if I went to this one used store and found these, I would spend probably $30 in just these 3 books. And so in these 2 stock, this was $1, and what I'm about to show you was another $1. And so I got all of these Pal Anderson books as well. Really cool covers. I didn't have any of these books, so it was like double score. A Circus of Hells, The Long Way Home, The High Crusade, Brainwave. Isn't that freaking cool? The Psychotechnic League. I think this one is also part of that series. It is Cold Victory. And then I got book 1 of The Golden Horn, The Last Viking. So yeah, I got all of these Pal Anderson and Edgar Rice Burroughs. This was $2. I mean, total score. And so $2, $25, and 14 something is what I spent. So a little over, something like $41 for all of these books. And yeah, they are just, it's just huge. I can't believe how much I got, like, on top here, and then I got all of these, and it's just like, it's like books on books. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I can't believe how much I got. So that's the book haul. I know you're always interested in the deals. I am super stoked for all these. I mean, you can't go wrong. The vintage sci-fi books are just fantastic. The covers are just great. I definitely want to crack them open. That's definitely going to be one of my goals. Some of these espionage chiller books from Nick Carter sound really cool. The Mercenary, the Merc book, that sounds really cool. It's just really interesting reading, and so I'm really excited. I hope you all enjoy this. I will talk to you all in the next one. Have a good day.